Okay, so this year is a very particularly interesting year in regards to the Royal Rumble. And the reason is that for the first time in years, in fact, for the first time for as long as I can remember, which is over 20 years watching WWE television, I have to say, for the first time, it is very hard to predict who will be the Royal Rumble winner. Now, that being said, I am a wrestling journalist and a longtime viewer and fan of the WWE. So I'm not going to say it's a free for all and anyone can become the Royal Rumble winner. However, I have narrowed it down to four and just four likely winners of the Royal Rumble. And here they are: Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Braun Breaker, Roman Reigns, and Finn Balor. Well, sorry, that's not four, that's actually five. Okay, five potential winners of the Royal Rumble. Now let's talk about who I think is the most likely to win the Royal Rumble. I mean, I guess you could say each contestant has about a 20% chance each of winning the Rumble. However, of the five, I actually think that Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns are probably the least likely out of those five men I've just mentioned to win the Royal Rumble. If you watched my last video, you would know that LA Knight is hot. LA Knight is really hot right now, and I know he's been on a brief hiatus for the past month. But LA Knight is a star and a champion and a guy, a guy whose time is now. WWE have to pull the trigger now on LA Knight because he can't just wait around for another year or another 2 years. You got to pull the trigger on LA Knight. Now, last year I predicted that LA Knight would face CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania in Vegas. But now that Drew McIntyre has won the championship, I think that it is likely that LA Knight will face Drew McIntyre in the main event of WrestleMania in Vegas. Now, he may win at the Royal Rumble, he may win at the Elimination Chamber. I'm not too sure. And the reason I think LA Knight will face Drew McIntyre, even though I think LA Knight versus CM Punk would be a brilliant match, and CM Punk and LA Knight had a lot of heat between each other. If you're watching last year, late around September, August, post SummerSlam, you would know that CM Punk and LA Knight have heat with each other after CM Punk interfered in LA Knight's match with Seth Rollins for the title. I actually thought and I predicted that LA Knight might be the next member to join the Vision. And I predict that if LA Knight doesn't win the title at WrestleMania this year, I think the next step in LA Knight's journey is to turn him heel and put him with the Vision. That being said, LA Knight if has a Stone Cold like Steve Austin type attitude in terms of intensity and the energy of his promos and the fan support. So I don't think it's a good idea or a great idea to turn LA Knight heel, at least right now. Not until he becomes the champion, and maybe in a few years turn him heel. But LA Knight, WWE need to pull the trigger on LA Knight and make this guy champion. I'm not sure if he'll win the Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble, but my guess is it might actually be the Elimination Chamber. So I'm giving LA Knight a 30% chance to win this year's Royal Rumble, an 80% chance to win the Elimination Chamber. Now, I think the front runner to win the Elimination Chamber is probably Seth Rollins at a 40% chance. And as you can see, I've got this graph here. Learning Microsoft Excel in school and college certainly paid off. So that's what you can do with Microsoft Excel. Visualize who will win the Royal Rumble, as you can see from my bar and column chart right here. Now, Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is a guy who I was surprised he didn't beat CM Punk for the title, but in hindsight, I think it was a good decision. CM Punk's the man. CM Punk is the most talented man in the WWE right now. It's CM Punk's time right now. My guess is that Seth Rollins is going to face CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania. So 40% chance that Seth Rollins wins the Royal Rumble on Sunday. However, I don't think it's going to be that simple. As you know, Finn Balor and CM Punk had an incredible title match on Raw 2 weeks ago. And Finn Balor, he impressed me more than ever in that title match and in those promos with CM Punk. And if you've been listening to Wrestle Observer Radio with Dave Meltzer, he predicted that they're going to have another title match between Finn Balor and CM Punk sometime between now and WrestleMania. And I think that may well be the case. And I wouldn't be surprised if Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus CM Punk becomes the main event of WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, there's going to be a triple threat match. And actually, Finn Balor, he's actually storyline not included in the Royal Rumble. I can't remember exactly why he's not included in the Royal Rumble. I think it might have something to do with attacking CM Punk, or I can't remember. Let me know in the comments below. But for some reason, Finn Balor is not in the Royal Rumble match. Now, this is WWE storytelling. So, if he's not announced for the match, in my opinion, he is going to be in the match. And I wouldn't be surprised if Finn Balor wins the Royal Rumble. And actually, now that I think about it, I think maybe Finn Balor has maybe 45% chance of winning the Royal Rumble, maybe a little more than Seth Rollins. So it might be interesting. It might be surprising that Finn Balor would win the Royal Rumble. I mean, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is a hot feud. It's the biggest feud in wrestling right now. CM Punk and Seth Rollins have real heat with each other. They don't need a third man. They don't need a third man, but I predict Seth Rollins versus CM Punk at the WrestleMania, this is just going to be a step in their feud. It's not going to be the final battle, the decisive battle between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. So I think there's a long time between now and WrestleMania, which is in April, 2 to 3 months. And having CM Punk and Seth Rollins feuding with each other alone, no, there's a lot of talented superstars in the WWE right now. And I think it's going to be a triple threat match. And I actually was going to say it was going to be a triple threat match, including Roman Reigns, but they had that match last year, and having the exact same triple threat as last year, this year, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's certainly a possibility. A triple threat match with CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania. But as of right now, I'm just going to say Finn Balor versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Heck, it might even be a fatal four-way match, and you can throw Roman Reigns in there as well. Because Roman Reigns is a big star, and Roman Reigns is my third pick to win the Royal Rumble. Mainly because, well, he's Roman Reigns. He's the champ. He's been a champ for a long time. And if you're going to have a big star like Roman Reigns, why not make him a champ? That being said, Roman Reigns has a lot of time off from WWE, and does it really make sense to have some guy as a champ when he doesn't really need to be champ if he's not going to be on the WWE on a more frequent basis? Now, Braun Breaker, as I said, I don't think he's going to win the Rumble, and the main reason I don't think he's going to win the Rumble is because Brock Lesnar is retiring this year, and before Brock Lesnar retires, he's going to break up with the Vision, and I think the other member of the Vision, Brock Lesnar, is going to feud with Braun Breaker, and it's going to be Braun Breaker versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in Vegas. And inevitably, we will see Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, and that will probably happen at SummerSlam. And the final person who may win the Royal Rumble, I've already given 4 names. Actually, I've given everybody's names. So let me just recount it. Finn Balor 45%, Seth Rollins 40%, LA Knight 30%, Braun Breaker 15%, Roman Reigns 10%. Actually, my math has been off. As you can see, it's over 100% what I just said. So let's recount it again. Okay, let me just start again. A 40% chance of winning the Royal Rumble, Finn Balor. A 30% chance of winning the Rumble, LA Knight. A 20% chance of winning the Rumble, Seth Rollins. A 5% chance of winning the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns. A 5% chance of winning the Royal Rumble, Braun Breaker. So that's who I've picked after I've done the math and calculated the math and rounded it up to 100%. They are my 5 picks to win the Royal Rumble. Obviously, the front runners are Finn Balor, LA Knight, and Seth Rollins, but I certainly wouldn't count out Roman Reigns. So I'm pretty sure, with almost 100% certainty, that one of those 5 WWE superstars will win the Royal Rumble. Anyway, who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble? And now that I've given you that, I just want to talk about Gunther versus AJ Styles. Because I haven't included Gunther in the Royal Rumble, even though he's doing dual duty at the Royal Rumble. Now, AJ Styles is allegedly going to retire at the Royal Rumble if Gunther defeats him. And we don't want to make Gunther look bad after he just recently, last month, ended John Cena's career by making John Cena, the man who never quits, quit and making him tap out. Now, you don't want to make Gunther look bad, especially after he looked bad when Gunther tapped out at WrestleMania last year, which should never have happened. I mean, Jey Uso isn't a submission wrestler, so why Gunther tapped out last year to Jey Uso makes no sense and only makes Gunther look weak. And you don't want to make Gunther look weak right now after he beat John Cena just last month. So someone's going to interfere in the Gunther versus AJ Styles match. And you might be surprised to who it is. It's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. I predict Stone Cold Steve Austin will face Gunther at WrestleMania. Just recently on the Chris Van Vliet show, which you can find on YouTube, Stone Cold Steve Austin, when asked if he will wrestle again, he said, never say never. So, never say never. I think he's got one more match in him. Stone Cold wrestled his last match in Texas, but Stone Cold Steve Austin recently moved to Vegas. So now Stone Cold Steve Austin is a Vegas boy. Will Stone Cold have his last match ever this year at WrestleMania? And if he does, I know there's one man, one hardcore, brutal man that Stone Cold Steve Austin would love to do it with, and that's Gunther. So I think Stone Cold Steve Austin will interfere at the Royal Rumble and save AJ Styles from retirement by beating Gunther's butt into submission. So, do you want to see Gunther versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania? Now, if Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't interfere at the Royal Rumble to save Gunther, I think Chris Jericho will debut and save AJ Styles. But I don't think he's going to save AJ Styles to be AJ Styles' ally. I think he's going to save AJ Styles to start a feud with AJ Styles because I think Chris Jericho wants to be the one to end AJ Styles' career. And of course, Gunther's motif right now is to end people's careers. He is the career killer. He is the career ender, so to speak. So I think this fits in perfectly for Gunther to be the one to end Stone Cold Steve Austin's career for good. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. I respect Gunther also. So do you want to see Gunther versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania? Let me know in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble? Do you agree with me that it's going to be either, firstly, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Braun Breaker, or Roman Reigns? Let me know in the comments below. Or do you think someone else will win the Royal Rumble? If you enjoyed this review, and if my predictions are more right or mostly right, then click like and subscribe, and see ya.